This is Melanie Benson with the history of the American Mafia. Since 2004, when Repetto wrote his book, there's been quite a few changes within the American Mafia all across the nation. The ones I like to focus on would be two of the biggest trials that I was able to come across. One being the 2006 Mafia Cops trial. I think that's kind of a big turning point because they actually put a bunch of the law enforcement on trial, and they were convicted in 2006 of working for the mafia and kind of being sell themselves out. Of course, in 2009, I just read that they overturned the original ruling, and that the statute of limitations had ran out, so they were not unconvicted, but it didn't matter. So I think, but that is kind of a turning point. Is like cops were a little bit wary and not ready to be bought out by the mafia, and so law enforcement and politicians alike are less likely to be involved, which is kind of a huge deal because that's where mafia got a lot of their powers from, being able to be backed up and not have to go to prison and all that stuff. The other one that I saw was the 2007 Family Secrets trial that happened in Chicago. One of the mafia bosses, or of the outlet, the Chicago outlet, his name was Frank Calabrese. Frank Calabrese's son wore a wire while he was in prison and actually caught his father red-handed, basically admitting to a bunch of murders and making it so that they could put a bunch of the mafia members, because they named names, on trial. They were all convicted for the last couple years. Their sentences have been from life in prison to death sentences for 18 different not 18 different families, but 18 different murders that were taking place in racketeering charges. Basically, these mafia members, the ones that were charged, owe about $20 million in fines and about $4.3 million in restitution to the families of the murder victims, which is kind of sad. Something I did find very interesting was that they're opening a gangsters museum in New York City sometime this coming spring in 2010. So I think it's kind of funny that Americans are trying to, I don't know if it's trying to glamorize the life of the mafia or whatnot, but they are opening that. There's a pre-opening this month in March, so that's interesting. The last thing that I want to say is that Repetto actually wrote a sequel to the book we read, and it's called Bringing Down the Mob. And the interesting thing that I read online was they said, the reason why he believes that the mafia is on a decline in America is because you could ask any average American who is a famous mafia member, and everybody they'd say would be something like Al Capone, Lucky Luciano, something like that, where it's all people that have been in the past. And like, what mafia members come to mind today? And I was thinking to myself, what mafia members come to mind? Couldn't name one. So that kind of gives me hope that maybe the mafia is, or has, been run down to the ground. We can always hope, right? Thank you.